Hey friends, it's Ian Khan, the Futurist here at Consensus 2025. I've got with me David Goyer. He's acclaimed director, a legend in the industry, and he's got some very interesting things to tell us about the overlap between content, intellectual property, blockchain technology, and where things are going. Thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, so you're talking about a very interesting idea that I think should have happened a long time ago, intellectual property protection. What is the specific project you're talking about?
So I'm involved, I created a project called Emergence, which is built upon Inscension and Story, which is a layer 1 protocol. And the idea behind Story is to tokenize intellectual property. And there's lots of different ways that can work. And in my case, I was a consultant for Story and Inscension, and they asked me to create Emergence, which is a new story universe that I can get into in a minute. And it's meant to be a use case for both Inscension and Story protocol. So if you think about, how intellectual property is created these days, there's kind of two ways that it can work. The first is that, we're offering an opportunity for creators to register their intellectual property on our platforms, to create with a series of sort of drop-down menus, licensing parameters. So if you created an indie comic and you want to register it on Inscension, but allow other people to create t-shirts or coffee mugs or even other spin-off, indie comics, you can set the terms for, the style guide, if you will, for that. And then the platforms will monitor everything, and if person X makes some t-shirts and they sell them on Etsy or wherever, on Shopify based on your comic, it'll track the payments, feed those back to the creator, and take care of all of that. Like I noticed when I was working on a big intellectual property, a television show, we were doing some merchandise, and I was meeting with the merchandise company for a studio, and they were talking about t-shirts and mouse pads and whatnot, and the merchandise that they were creating just wasn't that good. And I said, well, let's go to Etsy, where there's a lot of unlicensed merchandise, and these creators are doing things that are better than what you were coming up with. Let's make a deal with them. And they said at the time, well, there's no legal mechanism for us to do that. This solves that because people don't have to hire a lawyer to create a licensing agreement. They can just do it through the platform.
It makes sense. It makes perfect sense. And it's like this very small thing, but it's very big for creators, for intellectual property owners. This will save them so much money. I remember talking to Imogen Heap 4 or 5 years ago for our first documentary, Blockchain City, and she was trying to solve this for just the music industry, that hey, now artists' rights will be protected, now their IP will be protected. And I need to follow up on that project, but it's a challenge that a lot of income for artists is lost because somebody's stealing their stuff in many ways.
Right. If you're a music artist, you could put your material, you could register on this, you could create parameters for which people could remix or sample your works. You could put your music catalog, tokenize your music catalog, and allow your fans, as opposed to some big conglomerate, to buy a fractional piece of your music catalog. That would be interesting. Like, what if Taylor Swift tokenized her music catalog and said, you can spend $10, $20, whatever, and earn income as she licenses that material again and again and again. There's lots of different ways that this can work. And people have been talking about it theoretically for a few years. But in the case of Story and Inscension, this was the first time where I said, they're building a pipeline that I think could actually work.
Yeah. You know how, and I'm just thinking about, how there are these NFTs that were created for moments in sports, when somebody's hitting top shots, right? And you monetize that, you create an NFT. So it's like a very small, like 2 second, 5 second, whatever it is. I mean, it opens up so many nice possibilities that artists can maybe monetize fraction of their work, or a part of their work, or the whole work, or multiple pieces of work. So it just opens up a lot of possibilities. I just thought that was very interesting. It could, it's possible now. Moving from technology, let's talk about filmmaking. I'm
Sure.
passionate about story, understanding what's happening. Where is story making today? Forget technology. Are we living in an era of where stories are resonating? Everybody's on their device. Where are we? I really want to hope this is over.
Stories will always exist. Stories will exist as long as humans exist,
Yeah.
right? There was always a need to, sit around a campfire and have a communal experience, but the medium of delivery for those stories has changed. It was, cave paintings and pictures and photographs and moving pictures and now it's streaming and VR, and that will keep changing, and the way that people are consuming it will keep changing, and be able to be sliced up in these tiny kind of fractional web videos or serialized stories that have really taken off in Asia. But stories will always exist, and I think it's going to be a long time before artificial intelligence can actually, out of whole cloth, produce a meaningful long form work that will actually move people. Obviously it's possible to do that now, but I'm not sure that any of it is of a quality that can yet compete with some of our best creators.
Our interaction with storytelling has changed. I mean, last 30, 40, 50 years. And I'm just thinking, from reading books to the internet, to watching content on the internet, now social media, so stories have changed the way they were. You have movies, regular movies, you'd go to the movie theater and watch a movie, and you'd be so excited after you've done watching it. That didn't move. We have personal devices. Now we have small little cell phones or what have you, and our attention spans are changing. My son watches other people play video games,
Sure.
and that's entertainment
so
for him, right?
So do my sons.
So the question is, can AI create that, where it's just somebody playing a game and it's just gameplay, or structured storytelling, the one that you've done so much of? Where's it going?
It's so hard to predict. I mean, I think in the near term, it's possible that we could see a lot of AI generated or AI assisted generated projects that are kind of slop or kind of generic, and I think people might tire of that and will seek out something that's bespoke or unique or has all the imperfections that the human experience has. But yeah, it's baffling to me. I'll come down on a Saturday morning and two of my sons will be sitting in front of the screen, watching Twitch. They won't even play the video game.
Yeah.
They just watch people playing the video game.
Exactly.
And I'll say, do you ever want to play it? No, I just want to watch it. Obviously that's a generational thing, and that would drive me crazy.
Yeah,
that seems
absolutely.
bonkers.
Yeah.
But I don't think that experience is going to replace seeing, The Last of Us or Sinners or these great sort of communal experiences where people can either gather in the theater or gather at the water cooler the next week and talk about their favorite show. I don't think that will ever go away.
Yeah. So you've worked on some really nice, amazing movies in your career. Some of them I've watched, loved them, played, and so on and so forth. What do you think is, between these massive big productions, right? Big Hollywood productions, to somebody switching on their cell phone, creating stories. And I've met a few people here that are creating shorts with their cell phone, but the production quality of cell phones is great as well, right? 4K, you can film 4K. What do you think aspiring filmmakers should do to go ahead and just make content, right? Should they chase large format, short format?
There's no reason right now. I mean, when I was growing up, the internet even didn't really exist. I mean, I didn't have a computer when I wrote my first screenplay. So I didn't have access. I never read a screenplay before. I didn't have access to all of these things.
Yeah.
But you can make a movie off an iPhone, or a lot of some of the higher end still cameras have incredible video capability. So I think these days there's no reason not to start creating where there's a kind of lower economic threshold.
Yeah.
And we've already seen lots of examples of people that were creating things, content online, that have then sort of bootstrapped their way into quote unquote legitimate media. People that have done little, YouTube shorts that now have shows on HBO or HBO Max, as we're calling it now. People are buying stories off of Reddit or creepypasta, that are then being adapted into movies and video games and the like. So why not start creating now? I mean, that's what I would have done had I had access to these tools when I was younger.
And there's so many avenues of distribution. There are millions of people watching content, so there's no restriction that, hey, who's going to watch my stuff? But I think it's about just making it, structuring it, putting out a nice story, and there will be a community that will follow you. You will start building that base.
Well, if this story is good.
Yeah.
The issue now is that anyone that has access to a smartphone effectively can become a creator, but they're not all going to be good creators. So then, and the question is, in order to be a good creator, you have to have some kind of innate talent and something that's unique to say, to the world, and then you have to figure a way to get it out there. But I think good projects a lot of times will sort of, instead of settling to the bottom, will sort of rise up to the top, will percolate up to the top, and people will find them.
Excellent. Can you tell us, last question, can you tell us about any of your upcoming projects that you can tell us about?
Sure.
What's coming down the pipeline?
I've got 3 shows debuting in the next few months. Murderbot, which is premiering today, March 15th on Apple TV+.
Wow, nice.
The 3rd season of Foundation will be streaming, I believe, July 11th on Apple TV+, and season 2 of Sandman will be streaming July 3rd on Netflix, and I've got a few movies coming in the hopper as well. And in the meantime, people can check out emergenceuniverse.com, which is the project I built on Inscension, and please visit it. Please help us co-create this next big franchise, and that's available right now.
Amazing. David, thank you. I really appreciate you spending time with us.
Thank you.
And we'll